Active reloads, a very simple mechanic that can keep you engaged for a whole game. But why? I don't know. I can give you a theory to an educated guess, but there isn't really research on game mechanics, or if there is, there's not a lot. So we're going to have to use the eye test for this. My name is Johnny Wood, by the way, and this is Wise Mythical Tree. Moving on. Gears of War. This is probably the first game you think of when you hear active reloads. While it probably wasn't the first game to have an active reload, it's definitely the one that popularized it. If you don't think so, probably you put it in the comments. Gears of War is a relatively simple game. It's a third-person shooter with smooth and responsive cover mechanics. None too crazy. Look at him go though. God bless Mexico. This game has no weapon or stat upgrades, and it's mostly linear aside from a few choices here and there. So how does the game keep the player engaged? Most people will say the story or the gameplay, but you didn't click on the video for that. I say it's because of the active reload system. The active reload system in Gears of War is pretty simple. Your reload can only be in 4 states. There's active reload, quick reload, normal reload, and then a failed active reload. Getting a failed active reload sucks, but when you get your first active reload and you hear that sound, you never stop chasing it. A constant feedback loop of mastering the active reload system with each weapon. But not only that, it's also the little nuances that occur within the reload system. Like how, of course, every weapon has their own reload timing, or when you get an active reload, the next one is harder to get. Or when you're running, the reload timing changes ever so slightly to throw you off. A fantastic mechanic that ties in the whole game together. But this is not the only game that has an active reload system. This game's a lot more fast-paced than Gears of War, with a lot more system intricacies to worry about and more clutter on your screen. There are projectiles, explosions, enemies, the environment. Then you have to worry about your weapon overheating, and then boom, you have to reload. But it's not that simple. You have to manually eject the magazine and put a new one in with the active reload system. And I know what you may be thinking of how intense and non-stop the action can be in this game. Wouldn't this ruin the pacing a little bit or kill your momentum? No. At least in my opinion. Enter the Gungeon is also a game that has an active reload system, and it's kind of similar to Syntax as well in terms of like genre and both being top down and maybe even gameplay. Anyways, that's not the point, right? Similar reload system, but slightly simpler. Then you have Returnal, a game that also has an active reload system and is third person, kind of like Gears of War, but it's a roguelike like Syntax and Enter the Gungeon. In this game, like Enter the Gungeon and Gears of War, you only have to worry about pressing one button for its active reload system, which helps because this game is also fast paced and intense like Enter the Gungeon or Syntax. And I feel like that's kind of the common denominator with all these games that have the active reload system. They're either fast, intense, or both. But to me, it feels like these games would be slightly incomplete if they didn't have the system, which is interesting to me. Here's my theory. I believe why the system's so engaging is due to player inactivity. Let me give you an example. A simple cover shooter. Add a few companions, give them commands, then boom, 5 times more engaging. Then maybe add destructible environments, a reason for the player to get out of cover, but also stay in cover as well, a good story, boom, a 7 to 8 hour campaign right there. I wonder how many games I just described right there. Sometimes with the quote-unquote glitz and glamour of new and undoubtedly cool game mechanics, we kind of forget some of the simple ones that can still get the job done and be just as engaging. I speak for everyone when I say we love loot boxes, yearly release games, and active reloads. Join me next time where I talk about something either gamer related, Roblox related, because that is its own separate category, something in real life, or something I never really talked about before. My name's Johnny Wood. Thank you for watching my video. Hope you have a good morning, good evening, and a good night. Thank you.